Lone Wolf is a gamebook series by Joe Deaver and Gary Chalk. The first volume was released in 1984. This video is a tribute to these legendary books and their authors. You are Lone Wolf. In a devastating attack, the Dark Lords have destroyed the monastery where you were learning the skills of the Kai Lords. You are the sole survivor. You swear revenge, but first you must reach Holmgard to warn the king of the gathering evil. If you are a Kai Lord veteran and already went through this adventure decades ago, you can put your memory to the test by trying to visualize the situation that I will describe to you before showing you its illustration. If you are not familiar with this, and if the excerpts that follow kindle your interest, you can acquire the actual book and read the story in full. You have covered about a quarter of a mile when you hear shouting and a noise like thunderclaps ahead. Edging nearer, you soon make out a clearing that you recognize to be the site of the ruins of Ramas, an ancient forest temple. A war party of Gaiaks, some 25 to 30 strong, are attacking the ruins from all sides. To your amazement, the ruins are being defended by a young man no older than yourself. You recognize his sky blue robes, embroidered in stars. He is a young theurgist of the Magician's Guild of Torand, an apprentice in magic. From the top of the tower you can see above the trees in all directions. Far to the north, a column of jet black smoke rises high into the sky. Small orange tongues of flame flicker at its base. Opening the bag, you find a message written on an animal skin. Deeper in the bag is a dagger. After a few seconds, two small furry faces nervously appear over the top of the trunk. They say they are Kakarmi and tell you that the Kran are everywhere. Just in front of you, a wagon carrying small children breaks down. Its right wheel jammed in a furrow. The children scream in panic. You have reached a small bridge. A track follows the stream toward the east. A much narrower path disappears into the thick forest. The path soon ends at a large clearing. In the center of the clearing is a tree, much taller and wider than any others you have seen in this forest. Looking up through the massive branches, you could see a large treehouse, some 25 to 30 feet above the ground. There is no ladder, but the gnarled bark of the tree offers many footholds. Pushing open the treehouse door, you see an old hermit huddled in the corner of a small cabin. A look of great relief spreads across his face as he recognizes your green Kai cloak. You soon reach a small clearing in the woods. A bench, carved from a fallen tree, is set in the center of the clearing. You are hungry and must now eat a meal here. You enter the first building and fall to the floor exhausted. You can smell cooked meat. You notice a small cauldron hanging over the embers of a dying fire, and a large oak table that has been set for a meal. Whoever lived here must have left in a great hurry this very morning. The herbalist offers you a selection of special potions. Some increase your strength, some induce invisibility, some give you great powers of stealth, and others give you the power of turning yourself into a gaseous form. The man pulls open the bottom drawer of the counter to reveal a magnificent wand. He says that it is a powerful weapon against all evil creatures, and that it will make you invulnerable in battle. He points to the mystical inscriptions which cover the black staff. Suddenly, the large rock you are hiding behind is rolled aside, and you are faced by two snarling Gaiaks. The cave mouth is a narrow entrance, and you can only fight the Gaiaks one at a time. Suddenly, something heavy drops from the tunnel ceiling on your back, and you fall to your knees. It is a burrow crawler, and you must fight it, for it is trying to strangle you with its long, slimy tentacles. In the distance, perched on the branch of an old oak tree, is a jet black raven. After a few minutes walking, you see a stranger, clad in red, standing in the center of the track ahead. He has his back towards you, and his head is covered by the hood of his robes. Perched on his outstretched arm is the black raven that you saw earlier. When the ferry reaches the middle of the lake, the man stands up. He laughs menacingly and pulls back the hood of his cloak to reveal himself. He is a Drakkar, and you must fight him. Night is starting to close in. The shadows of the forest are growing longer and darker. You see through the trees a line of people moving south along a wide highway. Moving closer, you notice a large merchant's caravan in the center of the dusty turnpike. It is drawn by 6 large horses and is moving much faster than any of the other traffic. This could be your chance to reach the capital as quickly as possible. You climb the wooded bank of the river and see the log walls of the firewoods disappearing into the distance. A battle rages about 2 miles away, and the log wall has collapsed in several places where the Dark Lords are attacking. Ahead of you, you can see a fierce battle raging across the stone bridge. The clash of steel and the cries of men and beasts sound throughout the forest. In the midst of the fighting, you see Prince Pelethar, the king's son. He is fighting with a large gray Gorgaz, who is wielding a black axe above his scaly head. Peering over the steep undercut of the riverbank, you can see a triangle of driftwood along the water's edge. A large tree trunk has grounded on the clay bank next to a small canoe. Gathering the last reserves of your strength, you dive for the stairs and climb slowly to the top. From here you can see the magnificent view of the rooftops and spires of Holmgard, with the high stone walls of the citadel gleaming in the sun. You can see the tall gray-white walls and glimmering spires of Holmgard, its banner fluttering from the battlements in the fresh morning breeze. Stretching out toward the west, the river Elidil traces its course from the mountains of the Derncrag range to the Holm Gulf. But from below the mountain peaks, you can see a vast black army marching relentlessly on toward the city. In the distance, you can hear the sound of horses galloping nearer. You crouch behind a tree and wait as the riders come closer. They are the cavalry of the King's Guard, wearing the white uniforms of His Majesty's army. As the stream vanishes up into the rocky hillside, you can see on the track above 4 soldiers and their officer. They wear the uniform of the King's army. Three rangers gallop past the riverbank, closely followed by the Gyaks on the snarling Doomwolves. The bank is steep, and you are spotted by the Gyak leader, who orders 5 of his troops to open fire at you with their bows. Their black arrows rain down on you. Pushing aside the leader, you sprint off along the highway. Then behind you, the ominous click of a crossbow being cocked sends a shiver down your spine. The outer fieldworks of the city can now be seen. Drawn across the river is a line of barges chained together to form a floating barricade. You can also see soldiers running along the log walls of the fieldworks, and you can hear the faint noise of a battle drifting from the west. The wild old man is screaming at you. He blames you for the war and curses the Kai Lords as agents of the Dark Lords. He will not listen to reason, and you must fight him. The guards do not believe your story and refuse to let you enter. A tall man dressed in white robes stands before you, a bowl of herbs in his hand. Placing the leaves into a kettle of boiling water, he then turns to greet you. You recognize this man to be one of the king's senior physicians, for the gold-embroidered emblem of a dove upon his sleeve is the sign of his respected vocation. You tell the aged cleric of the events at the monastery and of your perilous journey to the king. You enter the Chamber of State, a magnificent hall decorated lavishly in white and gold. The king and his closest advisors are studying a large map spread upon a marble plinth in the center of the chamber. Their faces are lined with worry and concentration. As you finish your story, the king approaches and takes your right hand in his.